I'm William Kumwembe with Business Time on Times Television. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country and beyond. In the program today, tobacco production exceeds market demand. We speak to the regulator on contributing factors and mixed reactions among exhibitors as trade fair closes. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program today, this year's tobacco production has exceeded demand by 43.82 million kilograms, the Tobacco Commission has said. Briefing journalists in Lilongwe, TC Chief Executive Officer Kaisi Sadala said third round of crop estimate has revealed that the country has produced 193.4 million kilograms against a demand of 149.56 million kilograms. Sadala said overproduction of the crop could provide buyers some room to negotiate for lower prices, which could affect the growers in the long run. He explains to our journalist, Dawanga Sabola.
Well, I think the season has now stabilized. We had challenges at the beginning of the season, such as the high rejection rate, but even the minimum prices, we were stuck at $1.28 for some time. But we have seen things improving. Now we are on average at $1.48, which is not very bad, although that is still somehow low compared to last year. The issue of overproduction has been the major problem in the industry, in the sense that the buyers may be looking for a particular amount of tobacco to buy from the country, but growers would go further and produce too much tobacco, to say. This has made it easier for probably buyers to give excuses and offer low prices, because at the end of the day, they know that whatever happens, they'll get that tobacco at a low price. In the past, it was difficult to regulate the situation, but now with the advent of the new law, the law gives the specifications in terms of what need to take place, what need to happen if somebody has overproduced. So our call now is to make sure that the growers should limit themselves to the quota which they have been allocated, because we have to make sure that we are aligning production to the demand. As you are aware that tobacco is not produced for local consumption, it's produced for international market. So we have to make sure that whatever we are producing is in line with what the buyers out there are looking for. Right now we have started registration. And during that registration, we are allocating quota. As you are aware that, the tobacco marketing has got two categories. One is what we call the IPS, and then others call it contract and auction. This year, this far, in terms of the international demand, we have 154 million kilograms that they are looking, out of which 38 million is for auction. So, as we are doing the allocation now, allocating quota, we are allocating that 38 million because that is for auction, while the other balance is allocated by the buyers. Now, when do we start implementing? Immediately. What we'll do is we are giving farmers a particular quota in line with the demand that we have received. And if any grower chooses to grow more than what he has been allocated, when it comes to time of marketing, he will have problems to sell that tobacco. If at all, he will be punished in line with the new law. Of course, ignorance is not defense, but that notwithstanding, what we are trying to do is to ensure that we are sensitizing the growers. We have so far undertaken outreach programs throughout the country. I think we have held probably near 100 meetings throughout the country. But we also continue to engage you, the media, to disseminate this information. But any opportunity that we get, we are sensitizing the growers through their grower associations, through the buyers and everybody else, to make sure that everybody is aware. It is a duty of everyone that is involved in the trade to make sure that they follow what is required, and they should understand what the law says. Because when it comes to implementation, we are now ready to implement it to the letter. The markets, as you are aware, they started sometime in April. Closure dates are determined by the volumes that we have out there. Now, having undertaken the third and final crop estimates, from the figures that we have, it seems to show, and looking at the statistics that we do on daily basis, If there's not any disruption at all, we should be closing the markets by end of September. But as is the case when opening, we will be announcing in terms of which market will close at what time, depending on the amount of tobacco that is going through there.
Exhibitors at the just-ended Malawi International Trade Fair have expressed mixed views over the essence of the exhibition this year. Some claim that the fair was poorly timed and have asked organizers, the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, MCCCI, to consider hosting the event prior to an election during a pause year. Others, however, are of the view that the fair was beneficial and has helped raising awareness to potential clients. This comes amid concerns of poor patronage of this year's fair, marred by the current political situation. Chimwemwe Mangazi has the whole story.
Exhibitors, especially those who were selling various products in their respective pavilions, have said they have not benefited from their participation and have not recovered the money they paid to participate at the fair. However, other exhibitors, especially big companies, are of the view that the fair was beneficial and has helped raise awareness to potential clients. These are views of some of the exhibitors.
To be honest, I don't want to beat around the bush. I've always just come to buy, and as a buyer, I've never participated to have a stand. But I've always witnessed the trade fairs are always attracting international exhibitors as well as the local. But this trade fair has been a total disaster. To be precise, I even regretted why I did this, because we paid a lot of money and we have not even gotten a half, not even a quarter of what we've spent. And I thought this has been very unfair, very unfortunate, because the top management should have thought twice. Especially, listen, the 8th, how can you open an exhibition on the 8th when people have just finished? Understanding the economy we are in, we only have the money for a day or two, it's all finished. How do you expect? What is wrong with our management? Do they have the interest of the client? Do they want us to participate again in this exhibition next time? I don't think so.
Like on our part, we were just exhibiting, we were not selling. So it has been so beneficial. The only people that were coming here, they meant only business. So it has been so successful. And I believe we are going to make sales after this trade fair. I'll put it up to maybe 70–80%. Yeah, because people didn't know that we are manufacturing the boards. This time around we are promoting the medium density fiber boards, but then people have now got to understand that we are manufacturing the boards. We are not importing, but we are manufacturing ourselves. So at the end of the day, they now know where to get those boards, and I know for sure that you're going to make very big sales.
Yes, exactly. This participation of this 31st International Trade Fair has been a very impactful and a successful one, because we've been able to generate leads. And you've also found some businesses right here, direct, as well as those that are into make decisions from now up to the next period. We believe that they are going to give us business, because we have shown them what prime insurance is all about, what we do. And the exhibition has been like, those people, they'll be able to know that indeed prime insurance, they have got this and that. Prime insurance is here for Malawians, is here for their houses, because we have got different policies covering their houses as well as their modal or non-modal services. So I'm saying it is a wonderful fair. It's my first time to participate, and it has benefited our company, because we'll be able now to say, this fair, our customer base will increase.
MCCCI Head of Communications Mili Kasunda said they will collect all the views from the participants and consider their suggestions in mapping the way forward.
We can describe the 31st Malawi International Trade Fair in terms of its main objective, which is to make sure that businesses that do come here to exhibit are able to create business linkages and are also able to network through the organization. As we organizers of the event, we do organize B2B meetings and workshops. So in terms of that, I can confidently say that businesses have managed to create these business linkages and are happy that they are going to pursue these linkages even further and then be able to work with their potential business partners, investors, and also customers. But when we talk about patronage, this year has been on the downside. Our exhibitors have raised this concern, and we share the concern with them that indeed this year the patronage was very low. And we know that there are several factors that have contributed to the low patronage this year. One of the factors is the political environment that we are in as a country, and also economic factors that people do not have enough disposable income that would influence them to come and visit the trade fair grounds. But we are administering a questionnaire to all the exhibitors, and we should be able to know exactly what they think has been major challenges for this year's International Trade Fair, and we should be able to analyze the information and know and then use the information and the feedback to improve on our future trade events that we always organize. We are receiving so many suggestions, and last year, the other election year, the trade fair actually happened or was held after the elections, and there were no major concerns. So we have to understand that this year the environment is different from the past election year, and as the organizers of the event, we've been receiving so many feedback and so many suggestions and proposals, and these are strategic decisions that as the Chamber of Commerce we have to sit down and look at all these suggestions, proposals that we've been receiving, and we should be able, if we think that a suggestion is worth pursuing, then we should be able to accept it and then be able to implement it. But as it is now, I cannot comment further whether we are going to do that or not.
The fair started on August 8 and ended on August 15.
Now, in other business news, electricity generation company Egenco has reiterated its commitment to supporting empowering girls pursuing various courses and careers. Egenco Chief Executive Officer William Liabunya said this when the company donated 1.5 million kwacha towards hosting of the Malawi University of Science and Technology MAST 2019 Girls Science Camp. Sharon Chira has filed this report.
Egenco Chief Executive Officer William Liabunya said they are pleased to be part of the science camp as it plays in with the company's policy.
As a company, when we started, one of our initiatives and the first policies that we developed was the gender and social inclusion policy. And through the past 2 years, we've been active in seeing to it that we improve the gender equality in our society, even within our company. We created, in the first year of our creation, we created the gender department, which has been moving around, running around to ensure that we see to it that the girl child is given an equal opportunity both at school and even in employment in the company as a Egenco. So when we saw this opportunity and the initiative by MAST, even last year we joined hands with them, and this year when it came around we said, let's join hands with them and contributed this 1.5 million to ensure that the girl child is given an equal opportunity, that what a boy child can achieve, the girl child should also be able to achieve.
Liabunya said as a company, they have been seeing to it that they improve gender inclusion within the society as well as the country. MAST Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Jonathan Maguira, said support from industry players like Egenco will help them demystify the myth that science is a domain for males.
We have received this support because of the Girls Science Camp 2019. The purpose of the camp is to motivate the girl child in schools to like science. There is a tendency around Malawi to think that science is a domain of males, but we are there as a university to demystify that myth by giving opportunity to girls to come and appreciate what a university is all about, but also what science is all about. So the idea is to make sure that our girls are given opportunities to access universities and appreciate that science can be done by anybody. In fact, girls can actually do it. So the idea is to make sure, one, that we deconstruct the whole myth that science is a very difficult subject for girls. Rather, science is a subject that can actually be done by anybody. So MUST is there to facilitate that process. When we started the program in 2016, the number was very small. So 2016, 2017, this year, we actually have now, as we speak, we have 110 girls, as opposed to last year where the number was smaller. So we are seeing more and more girls getting interested as time goes by. So the idea is even to increase the number to as far as 300 per year. But it requires the kind of support that we have received today from Agenco. As you know, that there's always corporate social responsibility. Our industry in Malawi is very supportive of what is happening in higher education, and it is also the desire of MUST to partner with the industries in Malawi. Together, the idea is to make sure that, that we close this gender gap, and we, at the same time, we demystify this myth that science is a very difficult subject. But we can't do it alone as a university. We need to work together in partnership and make sure that our girls, our young girls, do understand and appreciate that they can do anything, they can be who they want to be without any kind of discrimination because of the myth that doesn't exist.
2019 will see over 100 registered girls appreciate MUST as an institution of higher learning, as well as give them an idea of what science is all about.
Welcome back. FDH Bank on Tuesday gave 1.5 million kwacha to Institute of Bankers in Malawi as a contribution towards hosting of the organization's annual leg conference. The three-day conference will start on August 29 at Sunburn Kopola in Mangochi district. Speaking after presenting a check, FDH Head of Personal and Business Banking, Kawawa Msabato, said the bank values the Indawa as a platform for knowledge sharing among professionals in the banking industry. Lazarus Nedi compiled this report, read in our studios by Sharon Chirwa.
The three-day conference will start on August 29 at Sunbird in Kopola in Mangochi district. Speaking after presenting a check, FDH Head of Personal and Business Banking, Kawawa Sapato, said the bank valued the Indawa as a platform for knowledge sharing among professionals.
We did this because we are proud of our association with the IOB, particularly the role that they're playing in the banking industry, training and giving additional skills to different staff of banks. A lot of our staff have benefited from the services of IOB, and you've seen their skills improve. When we talk about our strategy, human capital is the most important component in there, and we're seeing that we're benefiting because of IOB. And particularly when we also look at the conference, it's just an extension of the services that they're offering to the industry, because it gives a forum from different ideas will be discussed there. We're looking at the theme there is centering around financial inclusion, and here we can see that our values are aligned, those of FDH Bank and IOB, because even ourselves, financial inclusion is also very important to us. We're using our wide platform of branches, 52 branches, to reach out to the remotest corners of Malawi, as well as our vast network of agents, just to make sure that a lot of people are included in formal financial services, and also using our digital platforms as well to foster financial inclusion. So we identify a lot with the theme of this annual conference. That's why we felt the need to render our support. After every conference, we expect that lots of ideas will be discussed there, but after that, then we expect all the stakeholders to come up with action plans that can take the country forward. We can't continue just talking about financial inclusion, but we need initiatives that can be implemented. So our expectation is that after this conference, we're going to see more of that coming through.
He said the bank took keen interest in financial inclusion as its business strategy points at inclusive banking for all Malawians. IOB Chief Executive Officer Linus Nkungula thanked FGH Bank for the support. She said the Institute's inspiration in hosting this year's conference augurs well the bank's ambitions of bringing the majority of the unbanked masses on the banking board.
We are very happy because of this sponsorship. We cannot take it for granted. The sponsorship will actually help us to come up with a perfect conference for the delegates. As you know that coming up with a conference is a very expensive exercise. So when you have institutions helping you out, then we are very appreciative. The conference that we are holding from the 29th to 31st is about financial inclusion. We chose this topic because we know that financial inclusion is a very important topic that needs to be addressed by each and every country in the world. And we know that banks have done a lot on financial inclusion, but still there's more to be done. So we thought that during the conference we should also discuss about financial inclusion, knowing that it can't be done by the banks alone, but by all key stakeholders. So that's why we came up with this theme, financial sector synergies, a catalyst for financial inclusion, meaning that we need an inclusive approach for us to embark on financial inclusion. When we're talking about financial inclusion, literally we are looking at the masses that do not have bank accounts. But I should say that we are not only looking at the business of the bank, but we are looking at the saving culture of the customers of the bank. The main achievement of the conferences that we have as an Institute of Bankers is that we are able to bring different stakeholders together, because you would know that financial industry most of the time they work in isolation. But with the Bankers Conference, we are actually looking for financial sector, for the financial industry. We are not only targeting the banks, but we have even gone beyond the banking sector or the financial sector to include other sectors, so that we can actually fight, that we can actually drive the financial inclusion together.
She said this year's theme was chosen in consideration of the fact that although the country's financial sector has shown commitment in the drive for financial inclusion, a lot needs to be done.
Well, with that story, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, Nigerian Times Television, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country and beyond. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.